It's one of the strangest murder cases in modern history. A man who swore he was asleep the entire time. No memory, no motive. And yet, when police saw him, his hands were dripping with blood. This is the true story of Kenneth Parks, the man the world would come to know as the sleepwalking killer. Because what if? Your own mind could betray you. What if while you slept, your body decided to act out the darkest of dreams? Tonight we dive deep into the mystery where science, psychology, and horror collide. Kenneth Parks wasn't the kind of man anyone feared. He was 23 years old, married, with a baby girl, living in the suburbs of Toronto, Canada. Those who knew him described him as kind, goofy, and gentle. But behind that smile, Kenneth was collapsing inside, was drowning in gambling debt, stealing money from his job to pay for it. And when his employers found out, everything spiraled. He lost his job. His marriage was under pressure. And the weight of guilt kept him awake at night. He stopped sleeping. Sometimes just a few hours a night, sometimes none at all. He'd pace around his house, restless, anxious, his mind never shutting off. No one could have imagined that this insomnia would one day turn deadly. It was May 23, 1987. Kenneth went to bed in his small home, just like every other night. His wife Karen was next to him. The TV hummed softly in the background. But at around 3 a.m., something strange happened. Kenneth's body moved, but his mind wasn't awake. In a deep, confused state of sleepwalking, he stood up, got dressed, picked up his car keys, and walked out the door. He got into his car and drove 14 miles through city streets, red lights and turns he didn't consciously see, all while completely asleep. When he finally stopped, he was in front of his in-laws' house, the people who had once loved and trusted him. He entered the house using a spare key, and what happened next remains one of the most disturbing acts ever committed in a sleepwalking state. Kenneth walked into the bedroom where his in-laws, Barbara and Dennis Woods, were sleeping. In his hands, a tire iron he'd taken from his car. Without a word, without even realizing what he was doing, he attacked. Barbara, his mother-in-law, was struck multiple times. She didn't survive. Dennis, his father-in-law, woke up and tried to fight back, but Kenneth overpowered him, injuring him severely. Moments later, Kenneth's body just stopped. The rage faded. The fog began to lift. He looked down, his hands covered in blood. He had no idea how he got there. He didn't even know where he was. And then, he did something no ordinary killer would do. The confession that shocked police. Still in shock, still half asleep, Kenneth got back in his car and started driving again. This time, not home, but to the police station. He parked, walked inside barefoot, covered in blood, and said softly, "I think I've killed some people." "My hands." The officers stared in disbelief. His tone wasn't violent, it was confused. He looked like a man who'd just woken from a nightmare. Doctors immediately ran tests, thinking maybe he was on drugs or faking it. But everything came back normal. No alcohol, no substances, nothing. So, if he wasn't faking it, what was this? The investigation. Mind or murderer? Police retraced every detail. There was no motive, no insurance policy, no fight with his in-laws. And most disturbingly, every friend, coworker, and neighbor said the same thing. Kenny could never hurt anyone. Psychologists and neurologists stepped in. They studied his brain waves, his sleep patterns, and his history. The results shocked them. Kenneth wasn't just a casual sleepwalker. He had a long family history of parasomnia, sleep disorders that include walking, talking, even eating, while unconscious. But no one had ever seen a case like this. Someone committing murder while asleep. The defense built its argument around a terrifying idea. Kenneth Parks wasn't a murderer. He was a man trapped in his own body while his subconscious acted out something beyond his control. In court, the jury watched video after video of Kenneth being studied during his sleep tests. Electrodes covered his head. His brain activity was erratic, consistent with sleepwalking. Medical experts testified he was not aware of his actions. His body was awake. His mind was asleep. The prosecution fought back. They said no one could drive a car, unlock doors, and attack someone without awareness. They called it a convenient excuse, a cover-up for murder. Kenneth's calm behavior after the killing didn't fit the profile of a man who had just committed a violent crime. He didn't hide. He didn't run. He turned himself in, almost begging for help. After months of deliberation, the jury returned a verdict that stunned the courtroom. Not guilty, Kenneth Parks was acquitted of both murder and attempted murder, due to something called non-insane automatism, meaning he acted without conscious control. Aftermath and psychological mystery. The world was divided. How could a man commit such a brutal act and walk free? Was he a victim of his own mind, or just an extraordinary liar? Scientists debated for years. His brain scans supported the claim. His history matched the symptoms. And even decades later, Kenneth never showed signs of violence again. He became an example in psychology textbooks, a case that challenges everything we think we know about the human brain. Can your body move while your consciousness sleeps? And if it can, who's responsible for what happens in that darkness? They say our dreams are windows into our deepest thoughts. But what if sometimes those dreams open doors we were never meant to walk through? Kenneth Parks will forever be remembered as the man who killed in his sleep. A story that forces us to ask a question with no easy answer. If your mind was asleep, but your body committed the crime, are you still guilty? Beat of silence. Because maybe the real nightmare is realizing we don't fully control the thing we call ourselves. Fade to black, a soft echo of heartbeat. He killed in his sleep, the shocking story of the sleepwalking killer. Subscribe for more true psychological mysteries.